Damn, son, where'd you find this? Rock with your boys.
All right, you're looking live at Generation and Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks, aka the Father and Son podcast. We are back with another one, and as y'all can see, the name of the show is Cowboy Strike Back, and Happy Pickens Day. And what that's signifying is, so we had some big news today with George Pickens, and man, it's just a good time to be a Cowboy fan right now. It really is. You want to say what's up to the people and how excited you are about the news?
What's up to the people? Appreciate you guys joining in. We're gonna break it all the way down and talk about this trade. You got a black screen over there. You see that? What's supposed to come on there?
Yeah,
You
I'm
want to
about
put
to
up
move
some
it.
George Pickens video.
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
so yeah, last night the story broke, and then people were stepping out there just talking about the trade, and then people started chiming in, shooting it down. Kind of you always gonna have your negative Nancy's, and so it was kind of like one of those things. This a guy. I think he calls himself Slick Rick. You familiar with him?
No.
So he be breaking a lot of stuff, but he also had some big misses. So he the one that broke it, and then
Bobby Belt trying to take credit for it.
no, Slick Rick, he was out there first, but people started shooting it down, including Nick Harris. So when I went to bed, which was probably about 12, at that point it was like, this ain't happening. Then I woke up at 6:30 this morning, like I usually do, and first thing I saw was Bobby Belt tweeting that it was pretty much a done deal. That's when I told you about it. So I mean, it's like a really really big deal. It's been a whole lot of Twitter wars back and forth today, just as normal. And most of the people are positive about it. You do have some negative Nancy's out there that's trying to, like they do, try to, but you got to give the Cowboys credit for doing this, man. It's like, as negative as we are, you got to give them credit for this one. What do you think?
You got to give him credit. I was thinking about this, because we try to be over on our podcast. We try to be positive all the time because we're Cowboy lifers. We're not going anywhere, anyways. So we've been here forever. We're not going nowhere. So we try to be positive to try to positive, lighten the mood, and we always have hopium and all this kind of stuff. But we are realists, and so we know what to expect. So, but with this right here, I kind of said I want to give credit to Shotty for this. For the longest time, we've been doing our podcast. I've always used this theory, or whatever you want to say it, that we need these certain dominoes to fall. And with these dominoes to fall, the first domino was, let me turn the music down a little bit. First domino was a good hire. And it was a good hire with Shotty. At first, we wasn't so hyped about Shotty before, up against all the other candidates. You know what I'm saying? But after he was hired, and we just took a second look at it, kind of how we do with the draft and everything else, it makes sense, and it can work out. I mean, and it will work out, I think, and it just makes sense. And then also it's outside of the box. It wasn't what nobody expected. I mean, even though we did cover Shotty being the head coach, we were on that. We definitely covered Shotty. We did a whole video about Shotty. And so it turned out to be a good thing. Shotty came in and he immediately fit the role. He's done everything we wanted a coach to do so far. He's made some he hired a great staff, which was like number one thing that we wanted him to do. He did that. He hired a great staff. And then number two, we wanted to see the draft evolve. And last couple years, Cowboys have not had good drafts. And so We wanted to see what the draft was going to look like. And of course, just like always, we wasn't excited about the draft because they didn't get a wide receiver and they didn't get a high running back. They could have got Caleb Johnson in the third round instead of Siobhan Reveal. But we look back at it and they didn't get a wide receiver and they got Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa. When you take a step and look back at it, Jaden Blue is the fastest running back in the draft. He's the same size as my guy in Detroit. And so he can catch the ball out of the backfield like a slot. So Shotty has constantly said that he wants a running back that can catch the ball out the backfield, and he wants to run the ball. He wants a stout offensive line, and he also said he wants a dynamic second receiver. He's on record saying all these things. Okay, and that's exactly what they did. When they got Jaden Blue, they got the running back that can catch the ball out the backfield. That's what he is. You can watch his highlights and see that. He wanted a stout offensive line. Well, they went in the trenches in the first round and they got probably the best guard in the draft. That's what they did. And if he's not the best guard, he's the second best guard. He's one of them. He's one of them ones for sure. He's a great leader as well. So Tyler Guyton, was last year's pick, and so right now he's our weak link on the offense, and he might be better. But going forward, if we got three four really, because you got Terrence Steele on the right side. So if we got four good linemen up front, that's miles better than what we've had in the past. So and then the icing on the cake, we were sitting up here talking about we wanted the Cowboys to just do something to fill this wide receiver role. We wanted them to draft a 5th round receiver. We wanted them to draft a 7th round receiver. We wanted them to try. We want them to pick up Keenan Allen. We want them to sign Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, just somebody. We don't care at this point, just somebody. Mm-hmm. And they went out and they made a super splash move. And probably this is the biggest move that the Cowboys have made probably in 10 years, maybe 15. I don't know. Because this is bigger than Amari Cooper. So
and I didn't know. He's 24 years old. He's 2 years younger than CD. That astounded me.
Yeah, and so, people can say what they want to say about, he's a diva and he be acting a fool. We need that on our team. We're tired of the nice guys and the right kind of guys. And when you have leaders like Dak Prescott, and you want to talk about being a leader, and you have leaders like Micah and CD, and they talking about Tyler Smith, and then our new Tyler, he's a leader. So you got all of these leaders and these level-headed guys on our team. Well,
Deron Bland.
Well, you have the leaders for a reason. You have the leaders so that they can lead the ones that need leading. And he's one of those they need leading. So, when you go back to the Cowboys in the 90s, they were bad boys. They weren't good guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Dez wasn't a great guy. He was always late to meetings and all of that. But when it came...
Charles Haley, Michael Irvin.
But when it came time to play, what did they do? They showed out. They were playmakers. That was the difference. They changed the narrative of the game by their play. So not by their conduct and by their character, none of this. So that's what we needed. They exceeded our expectations. They went and got to me, there was only one other option that they could do that would knock our socks off, and that was Jamison Williams. And one can argue that he is better than Jamison Williams. So
the receiver for the Lions?
Yes.
So I think Pickens is better. I think Pickens, he has better rack, and I want to go back to that point that you made about the character and the culture. I made a point today on Twitter that you're not going to find a championship team at any level, whether it's NFL, NBA, even Major League Baseball. The Yankees were notorious back in the day when they was winning. And you're gonna every championship team you have, including Dallas. I mean, the Cowboys in the 70s, they made it America's team. Tom Landry was a stoic coach. Just the reputation that he had. But there were some guys on that team, they were just off the chain. You had Thomas Henderson, Dwayne Thomas, Harvey Martin. So, even Tom Landry, coaches like that, Chuck Noll Steelers were the same way. You cannot win a Super Bowl. You can't win a championship with a bunch of choir boys. It's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
And every team has that. So this right kind of guy, Jason Garrett thing, what I want to give the front office credit for, including Steven, is they may have changed the page on this right kind of guy stuff that just kind of bogged us down for 10 years. And I wanted to throw something at you. What I was talking about. You remember that press conference they had when they introduced Shotty, and everybody cheered for Shotty, and when they introduced Steven, nobody clapped.
Yeah.
I think that really had an impact on Steven as far as his offense. What do you think about that theory?
I think so. And I think that just everything, just not just a combination of everything. A combination of how they treating him and what they're saying in the public and nobody has had anything positive to say about the Cowboys for a couple years now. It's always,
And
it's
something else before I forget and I talk over you. The other thing that was amazing about this deal, they're always looking for this media splash. They did this deal behind the scenes and nobody talked about it. That was pretty amazing too.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking at Shotty and I'm just seeing them move in a different way when it comes to what they always. Now I had to change my tune a bit because I used to think to myself, like the majority of people think, oh, Steven is running things and Jerry is running things and all of this kind of stuff. But I had to change my tone. It's just like, no, they really do let the coaches run things. That's what they do. They let the coaches do what they want to do.
The biggest decision they made in recent franchise history, they allowed Jason Garrett to keep Dak as a starter in 2016 instead of, because Jerry wanted to put Romo back in.
Correct.
There ain't no question about that. The front office, well, I say the front office, it was Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to put Romo back in. They let Jason Garrett make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So they let their coaches coach, and at times they give their coaches way too much input on the draft. So their reputation
they let Rob Marinelli draft Taco and Tristan Hill. They let Dan Quinn come in here and have 2 defensive drafts.
They let McCarthy draft Schoon.
They did. He wanted a tight end. They gave it to him. Yeah. They let McCarthy run his offense, even though they know it was detrimental to the team. They knew that Shotty wanted to call different plays and Dak wanted to call different plays, and Mike McCarthy said no.
Yeah.
So they let their and see Shotty. He just one of them guys to where I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but Shotty's one of them guys to where it's just like, nah, I know what this look like. I know what the basics look like.
Do this for me. Let's do some producing on the air. Can you show YouTube on our thing?
Yeah.
So go to YouTube and just type in Coach Marty Schottenheimer, and we're not gonna play the audio. We're just gonna show you for some of our people out there. They the old school. They know it, but I think, Marty Schottenheimer, the kind of coach that he was, I had a little back and forth with a guy this week. I said that Marty Schottenheimer, the thing that really made him not get as much credit is because he made it to 2 NFC championship games and he lost both games at the last minute. One was a fumble in the last minute, and I believe the second one was a turnover too. But I said that if he had won those 2 games, he's right up there with Parcells. And so just to piggyback on your point, I think Brian Schottenheimer, he just has the genes. He kind of knows what this looks like to just command the team. His dad was like, he just command the room. Yeah, just let that play. You can do it without the audio. But so this is what he grew up with. This is the kind of coach his dad was. So just go ahead and finish your point about Shotty and what you think he had to do with this move.
Yeah, so he just like you said, and then I'm a 4th generation Cowboy fan, and so anybody from the 4th generation, no, we didn't really get to see. We got to see the end of Shotty, Marty Schottenheimer. When you see his face, you just remember him from being on the games like Madden '95. You remember him being on the cover of things. When you think about as a 4th generation fan, when you think about coaches, you think about Holmgren, you think about Andy Reid, you think about Jimmy and Schottenheimer. He's one of those people that you think about when you think about the coaches. When you think about Madden, you think about Schottenheimer. You know what I mean? When you think about but anyway, what I'm saying is that he breathes football. He breathes and bleeds football. His dad was a legendary coach, so he has that makeup. It's in his DNA. It's some things you just can't. You
Mhm.
can't. Some things are just in your DNA, whether you're good at it or not. You know what I mean? It's
This the
just in your
NF
DNA.
this the AFC Championship game right here. John Elway went like 90 yards to win the game,
Yeah.
and so this is one of the games that he lost. But he was just playing against a Hall of Fame player. And
Hmm.
one other thing I want to mention about Marty Schottenheimer is we've always talked about these coaches. You got to have a coach that has a great system, or you got to have a coach that has, the command of the room, the general, the Jimmy Johnson, the Bill Parcells. That's what kind of coach his dad was. And the thing that we want to talk about his dad and about that type of coach, the Jimmy Johnson, the Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, obviously, is they coach every area of the team. They're not just offense or defense. They coach everybody. Jimmy Johnson back in the 90s, when he was talking about special teams, that was the first time that I had heard a coach just talk about special teams the way Jimmy did. Jimmy put a huge emphasis on special teams. That was my first time actually like being exposed to that.
And
You
see,
know,
to your point, Shotty, that's one thing that they asked him about his coaching style, and that's exactly what he said, and that's why it made sense because when you look at Shotty, he was an offensive coordinator, but that really wasn't his position because Mike McCarthy called the plays. He just came up with the game plan, but in Shotty coming up with the game plan, it involved a lot of the defense because Shotty was just like saying like when I had, when I'm running against when I'm running against the scouting defense or whatever, I'm telling them how to beat this offense or what to do to try to give us a challenge or whatever. So I have to show them. So a lot of times I'm telling Micah, when you see the offensive tackle do this, this is what you should do. Or a lot of times I'm telling Deron Bland, okay, when you see them lining up like
this
this
Kansas
means
City team you had right here, they
yeah.
they boy they were tough. Now they could have made it to a Super Bowl. They had a couple of but
Who
man,
was
he
their
brought
coach?
it's Marty Schottenheimer.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
He coached Cleveland, Kansas City, and San Diego.
And they were like an NFC team.
Yeah, they were the only AFC team that played that way. But
Mhm.
go ahead and finish.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, he
like,
coaches every side of the ball, just like Belichick, just like Jimmy, just like
mhm. and,
Parcells, just
and
like
and
Pete Carroll the same way.
right, and Shotty does that too. Shotty, that's
Yeah,
why he has a relationship with all of the players. He has a relationship with the offense. He has a relationship with the defensive players. They all respect him, and really, the
yeah,
players got him this job. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Because that's who Dak and CD. He was there. He was there. He was there. Their cry out. That's who they wanted to be the head coach. And so, I'm on this thing where I'm telling people like, don't underestimate Dak. See, Dak,
you can stop the video.
what you have to look at with Dak, what I look at with Dak is, see, to me, Dak is like an entity. It's just like, Dak is like, yeah, he's the Cowboys quarterback, but it's more than just him playing and being an accurate quarterback because he is number 3 in accuracy. People don't say that, but he is. It's just like him being an accurate quarterback and him, being a top 10 quarterback, top 5 debatable his whole career. Um, so with that, you know what I'm saying? Dak also does a lot of things behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like, Dak also, what I'm saying, like, he's part of a lot of the game plans. He's a part of the additions that we add to the team. When they trying to get people in free agency, that's who they on the phone with. If they finna cut somebody that's on the offense, that's who they asking about. They asking Dak, what you think? When they cut Dez, they ask Dak, what you trying to do? And Dak said, "Oh, well, it is what it is. His time is up," and he was gone. So you know what I mean. It is what it is. So Dak is like that. So when it comes to Shoddy, Dak had a firm hand in that. Just like when it came to this guy that we just signed, George Pickens, Dak had something to do with that. So Dak does a lot. A lot of this team runs through Dak, and you can see it when he's not on the field. When we're not playing, we have one of those teams to where if Dak is not playing, we might as well just go ahead and start looking forward to the next season. It's because it's not no, he is the team when it
Well,
pretty much.
and what you want to do, kind of to that point, I guess my thing is, what I want to do, and hopefully they continue to do. We're gonna just talk about just building a team. what they got to do too, and they kind of did it this year. They got to build a team to where everything is not centered around Dak. So if Dak is having an off game like Mahomes, you can win a game. That's what this George Pickens move does as well. They got to have a team from front to back, side to side, to where if Dak is having an off game, I call it the deer in the headlights. Dak, it's
Mhm.
not going to cripple the team and lose the game. Somebody else can step up, and George Pickens,
He's that guy. That's why
yeah,
Dak. That's why their relationship. That's why I said that about Schottenheimer and Dak's relationship, because Schottenheimer is aware of that, and Shotty is like, no, Dak needs help. So that way, when he does, we have to build a team around Dak. That way,
mm-hmm,
that way, when Dak has a human moment, because everybody has these moments where
yeah,
they have the deer in the headlights moment. But what you have to do is you have to build a team around him with players that are not shy and that can
yeah.
step up in the moment, like George Pickens. He went to Georgia, one of the biggest domes. You know what I'm
Now I
saying?
did find out too that Shotty and George Pickens, they were on, at Georgia together, and I didn't know that either. And I thought about that a lot today. What you're just saying. Now, when we go and play the Eagles, I think we're already even with the Commanders, but we got the Chiefs on our schedule this year. We got, we playing the Packers, so now we're gonna match up with these teams. And where I want to go next is, and we got the NFL schedule comes out next week. I think the NFL probably is second guessing themselves right now, because I think that the Cowboys, I think what's going to end up happening with this NFL schedule, which is another story. I think we're going to end up with less prime time games, because I think the NFL is kind of like we were before this move, and but I don't know if they got some time to go back and change some things. The schedule is probably already back then, but Jalen Tolbert. So now the receiver room, to me, it's overcrowded. I think they ought to look at trying to see what they can get for Tolbert. If you can get a fifth round pick for Tolbert, I'm all for it, because they're gonna try to force the Mingo thing. They still gonna try to develop Mingo. You got the rookie from Oregon, uh, is it Trayshawn Holden?
I think he gonna play over Tolbert.
So then you still got Flanoy. So to me,
Yeah,
if
but
they can,
you're not even thinking about how, because Shotty has said since day one that he gonna involve Turpin in the offense.
you got Turpin. So that being the case, can you turn the music down a little bit more? Uh, so that being the case, I'm
Oh
just
my.
wondering if there's a market for Tolbert. If you can get a fifth round pick, um, I think you should look at that and look at Keith. Um, I think what we learned in a draft this year is these rounds.
What's
If
up,
you're
Brendan?
What's up, Brandon? If you're missing a draft pick, what's happening with the draft? And we're gonna talk about this in next year's draft. If you have three fifth round picks, when you get to the fifth round, it's gonna be players in the fifth round that really should have been taken in the fourth. So my point is, you know, even if you get extra picks or you losing a pick, the draft is still gonna draft. So it's just good players. So the Cowboys lost a third round pick. If they can get a fifth round pick for Tolbert, I would be game with that, because we just got too many guys in the room. You're not gonna even be able to look at Trayshawn Holden or Flanoy with all of the guys that we got in the room.
Yeah. Um, and they probably will, but what I think what'll happen is I think that they'll just have them, they'll have them competing in training camp, because one thing Shotty keeps saying is competition rules the world. Competition,
Yeah.
competition, competition. So they're gonna have them battling it out in the training camp, and then whoever's the last man standing is gonna be the last man standing. I think it's gonna be Tope.
So you don't think they gonna just pencil Mingo in as a third receiver?
Not if he don't produce.
Well,
Mm-mm.
I mean, and there is a lot of discussion that Shotty likes Tolbert. Tolbert is his guy.
I mean, why wouldn't he
So
be?
yeah. So look, if we end up with if our receiving core is CD, Pickens, Tolbert, and Mingo, That's pretty stout. You can go into any stadium and you can ball. The great thing is we're not talking about CD missing a season, but what if CD just pulls a hamstring and he's out for a game or two? Now you got Tolbert, Mingo, Pickens. You just go out and you just ball. That's what good teams do.
Them dudes are not gonna be able to do nothing with Mingo. With Pickens and CD on the team. On the same on the field together. That's gonna be something
I
dangerous.
said today, it's Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper all over again, but Pickens is better than Alvin Harper.
I
I
mean,
found out today. I learned myself for the first time. Now we got to look at this. They say he ran a 4.47 40. I've watched him play. He doesn't look that fast to me, but
but
Alvin Harper ran like a 4.7. So
well, all I'm gonna say is, he's number one in yards per catch. He's
Alvin
number one.
Harper led all of that.
Yeah, he leads all of that. He's number one in downfield catches. He's like
That was
number one.
Harper.
He number one in contested catches.
That was Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper, he only had like 40 catches for the season, but when he caught the ball, it was like the biggest games. They don't win no Super Bowls without Alvin Harper. He
Mhm.
made the biggest plays in the biggest games. And George Pickens, to me, is the same type of player. Just big plays. Now, Pickens, to me, he has better rack. He's faster. He's more elusive. I think when all the receivers that we were looking at, if I had to just say with Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Pickens, there was some talk about Bateman from Baltimore. I like a lot.
DJ
Uh,
Moore.
DJ Moore, you know, Pickens. I mean, he has to be right up there at the top. I think Amari Cooper, to me, he would have been kind of the second coming of Zeke coming back. Just kind of just meandering, not really
Moving
looking
the
like he
needle.
did, not moving the needle, just kind of he just looked like he really wasn't into the
He
to the
just there. It's
game,
just there for the fans to
just
cheer.
there. And to me, it was just kind of looking like he didn't want to play a whole lot. It was cold up there in Buffalo too. But I think Keenan Allen would have been fine. I think DJ Moore is great, but you just got to get a front office credit for pulling this one. And the third round pick, it is what it is. I think what we got to look at too is if he doesn't resign, we're going to get that third round pick back. And then what will happen is you'll get your third round pick and a compensation pick. And there was some discussion about whether that would actually be next year. But also, what happens is if you don't sign him, you already know you picking a receiver in the first round next year.
Hmm.
That's what's going to happen. But I think they can actually get him signed. There was a lot of comments today. The Pittsburgh fans are not happy with the trade.
Mm-mm.
And then a lot of the fans, and including some of the media people, were saying that he really wasn't a locker room issue.
No, they say he wasn't a locker room issue at all. He's a good locker room dude. It was just his on the
Yeah.
field antics.
And he never had a quarterback.
He never had a quarterback, not even in college.
He was frustrated with the offense. Their offense was just garbage.
Hmm.
I don't know what Pittsburgh is doing with the offense. They hired Smith from the Falcons. His offense is, I don't even know what that offense is. It's a goofy offense. Um,
They're not trying to win right now. They gave up Pickens for a 3 and a 6. That ain't even.
and they still haven't decided the Aaron Rodgers thing. Nobody knows, kind of what's happening there. But
I was
I can
thinking
tell you,
that probably was the reason why they got rid of Pickens, because they didn't because I was thinking that they're gonna have Rodgers come in there, and Rodgers don't want to deal with Pickens.
yeah, and I think the main problem they're gonna have with Aaron Rodgers is that offense. He gonna come in after game 4 or 5. He gonna be telling the media and everybody this offense stinks.
Yeah,
And that's gonna be a problem. I just knew they was gonna take Shador because
and
they passed on him.
if Rodgers go up in there, he gonna get himself hurt again too, because their offensive line ain't great.
Yeah, in that division, you would get knocked in the next week. That's
That's
a
what I'm saying.
very
That's
physical and
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 it's cold.
it's cold. To me, he showed clearly his last couple years in
He
Green Bay.
played in that
He didn't
weather.
want to be out there in that cold.
He didn't.
And that's what happens when you get old, just like Amari Cooper. When it's like 20 degrees, that ain't nothing to play with.
Mm-mm.
These young guys, they can go out
They
there.
be out there with no shirt on before the pregame.
So I'm looking at my 88 room. You know, Dez and Mike Irvin have already chimed in. They are elated with the CD was actually tweeting last night.
He is elated.
So you know the OG Drew, he'll probably chime in at some point. But yeah, the 88 room. I mean, they gotta be.
I wonder if they'll give him 83.
They're talking about him just wearing 14 today. Somebody is wearing it. I think it's I can't remember the player's name, but he's probably gonna be wearing 14.
Man, he a dog,
Yeah,
man. He a dog. He a dog. He everything that we needed. Now we have a complete team. Because you look at Blue and Maffa, people talking about Javonte Williams and all of this and Miles Sanders. I was looking at Phil Maffa tapes. I don't understand why he wouldn't start over them. I'm thinking like he would. I'm thinking that he would start over them. He's a younger
you know.
back. He's healthier. I would say he could probably start.
So he was kind of banged up in college. There were some people that had him in the 6th and 7th round. You know, it's just kind of one of those things. But
You
yeah,
know,
I like his tape.
I keep telling people, so you can look back. We did probably 50 mock drafts, okay? And we draft Phil Maffa and Jaden Blue, and several of them.
Yeah,
Several times we did that. Because he
we,
wasn't on Take-a-thon, but when we
and
did our
we
drafts to the 7th round, we always took them too.
and we never took Donovan Easy. He's calling himself Easy. Is it Easy or Easy? We
Yeah,
never took him because he just was never going to be there.
right.
So he was a first round pick on our boards.
hmm
That's why we never took him. But
But
he came in the 2nd round.
I'm gonna say you like this. He gonna be like he to me he is the best. Because I was just looking at him and looking at the edge rushers outside of Penn State.
He's the best edge rusher
He is definitely the best edge
outside of
rusher.
Abdul Carter. Yeah,
Outside of him, he's the
he
best.
kind of reminds me a little bit of Colin. He's not as tall as Colin.
He remind
He's
me of Colin too.
he's the same type of player though.
He is. They knocked it out the park with them 2 draft picks. Now where they messed up was 3rd round, but that 1st round pick. Now that they got a
Well, I
receiver,
think they messed up in the 5th and 6th, 5th and 6th, 5th,
they
6th and
did.
7th
What
round.
what I what I meant to say was it went downhill after the 3rd round. You
Yeah, the
know,
corner, just kind
well,
of looking at more of him. The only thing about him, as we discussed on our show, is the knee and the recovery. But we were talking about him today. I didn't
hey,
realize how tall he was, how long his arms are.
he was probably the outside of Michigan. He's the best corner. If he didn't hurt his ACL, he was the best corner. He was gonna be a 1st round pick.
He would have went ahead of the corner from Michigan.
He
Who did
did.
he
He
end
would
up
have.
going to? Will is it Will Will? What's
Johnson. Yeah, Will Johnson.
who
I
did
don't
he end
even
up
know.
going to?
I don't remember. My phone dead, so I can't look it up.
But
Uh,
but yeah, I think yeah the
mm-mm.
corner in
If
the
he come
long
back, hey, if he come back healthy, and then man, what shit, whatever. He
in
gonna
the
be.
long run he's gonna be a good pick.
He went to the Cardinals. Uh, oh yeah, he gonna be a good pick. He gonna be a. I think he gonna be a starter in the long run. You know.
Yeah,
Now they was talking about the Cowboys making one more move. To me, now would be the time to sign Stephon Gilmore.
I
Now
would
would be
like
the
that.
time to do
There was
that.
some talk about Brees Hall, James Slater shot that down.
Yeah, she poured cold water on that
I
and Nick
saw that.
Chubb.
Man, and the Nick Chubb thing, I just don't. I'm not really sure I get that one. I think the guys that we have at this point in his career, they're better than Nick Chubb. I mean, he would, he
That's
would
what I
be
said.
somebody that I would be interested in if we just didn't have any other backs. I wish they had a drafted Devin Neal. That was the best pick right there. Yeah, your running back room will look a lot better with Devin Neal added to it.
Man, if you would have had Caleb Johnson,
Yeah.
you'd be
So the,
cooked
the
right
trade
now.
off was
Yeah.
with the corner. So, but yeah, you
hmm
know, good trade for the Cowboys. They kind of like we put the theme on the show, the Empire Strikes Back. So they came back, and everybody's excited about the pick. Now we're gonna just wait and see what the next move is. Got the NFL schedule coming out, and just can't wait to see George Pickens come in and do his for his interview. And shout out to Jerry Steven, Will McClay, and Shotty. I think Shotty is
Spearheaded this.
so we just got to figure out what the offense is going to look like. How he gonna spread the ball around.
I
But
think I think my best guess, my educated guess is that it's gonna look like the passing plays that worked last year. So we literally can just go to the passing plays last year that worked. We can go to them and we can see what's popping. Or we can go to the year before last when Dak and Shotty took over the offense. We can look at that, and then we can also look at the Arizona Cardinals run game and how they like to do the zone run game. And
yeah,
then we can combine those two things, and that's probably going to be what you're looking at. And then also, um, it's going to be tough for teams to deal with that when you got CD on one side and you got Pickens on the other side, and you got Ferguson in the middle of the field, and then you got this guy that runs a 4-2 in the backfield that can catch the ball out the backfield. If you give Dak some time in that pocket, it's gonna be bad. And then
mm,
Shotty likes to get the ball out quick. He likes for Dak to get the ball out quick. He likes for Dak to get the ball out, and then they call the next play, then they go. So you can
mm,
tell, like, tempo is Shotty's game and Dak game. When Dak is calling plays because they moving down the field super fast.
mm,
So it's like when they doing that, we're gonna be scoring points left and right. Teams are not gonna be able to keep up. And that's how they gonna win games. I think they're
yeah.
gonna win games by just doing like we did a couple years ago, going up by 30 points in the first quarter, and first half of the game, and it's already 32-7.
That red zone is gonna be lit. We
Oh
we got
man, when you
with
got
Pickens.
oh man, all you gotta do is throw him the ball. All you gotta do is throw it up, and he gonna be able to get it.
Now there's a tight end that we brought in as a free agent. The name escapes me.
Yeah,
People are talking about him as a dark horse. I really wanted to pull him up and look at some film on him. What is his name?
yeah. I need to put you know what I'm saying.
And why
Cause
you say your phone is dead?
yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. But do you remember the Sandman from Apollo Theater?
hmm
So I think the Sandman is he's hiding behind the curtain at Tyler Guyton's place,
Oh.
because if Tyler Guyton, he got about 4 games with this team.
hmm
If he's out there just getting smoked, Sandman is coming to get him.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I reposted what's the name tweet today.
Who?
Uh, uh, Duke. Manyweather. Remember what he said about
Yeah,
Tyler Guyton?
yeah, yep.
I reposted that. So he uh yeah, man, he posted I mean, they somebody asked him what did he think about Tyler Guyton being a starting left tackle in the league, and he straight up said, Tyler Guyton has a lot of things to figure out before he can make that leap, and that's completely on him at this point. And so when you have the offensive line guru saying
Hmm.
stuff like that about you, you know, one thing I like about Tyler Guyton right now is kind of like the same thing I like about Shotty right now, is that we ain't seen them, we ain't heard nothing from him. When Shotty got busy, when they said that Shotty was the coach,
Hmm.
we ain't see nothing. Shotty was working. We ain't see him saying nothing. He wasn't out in public. He wasn't making a lot of moves. It was
Okay.
just like, what
His
is he doing?
name is Rivaldo. It's Rivaldo.
Yeah,
Fairweather.
this is him right here.
So
So we ain't seen Tyler Guyton.
well, they're talking about he's not working with Duke. So now some people were saying that might be a reflection of the Cowboys' new offensive line coach Riley and Clayton Adams. They may just want to work, but some of the other players are still working with Duke.
Yeah.
That's been confirmed. So
Mm-hmm.
he's on Sandman watch. We're gonna give him 4 games,
Yeah.
and if he's
Because we
out
don't
there
even
getting
need him to
smoked,
play like the other linemen. We just need him to be decent.
now Lou, shout out to Lou. Lou said yesterday that he's not as high on Awesome Richards as I am. He was talking about his feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what other answer they would have. other than Austin Richards, unless they're gonna make another free agent move and sign a veteran.
That's what they need to do.
But if you just look at our team, the blinking red light on our team right now is left tackle and defensive tackle. And we still are a team that can't stop the run. And with our schedule that we're gonna have, we gotta get that figured out.
I see what people were saying. This guy is a lot of John Joseph. Or John, what's his name?
I can't see this. I can't see the screen. It's not showing.
What?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's been me this whole time. I'm up here watching the thing. Okay, let me see. Let me rewind him. He's balling on this thing. So what was
John Stevens.
John Stevens. John
Man, I
Stevens.
sure was pulling for John Stevens. I hope he can still. Now me, I'm trying to build a team. If John Stevens is better than Schoon, if he's better,
I don't know
than
if
Bremer's Ford.
I don't know if he's gonna be better than Rivaldo right now.
This is Rivaldo right here.
Yeah,
Brian Broaddus likes this player.
I do too.
And Bosch does too.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing right now, he looked like John Stevens to me. He got some. He watch this next catch. It's just not this one, but the next one.
He look like John Stevens.
They do, but watch this.
How did he not get drafted?
I don't know. Whoop! That was crazy. That was a crazy catch. And this one right here too. Watch this catch. Whoop! Nah. Yeah. Nah. He can catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the guys I follow, he posted a tweet today with Kyle Pitts talking about that should be our next move. But yeah, this highlight tape, you don't ever know what you're looking at. But
I mean,
this
Kyle
highlight
Pitts,
tape, but you can just see the traits.
Yeah.
And this young man right
He's
here,
already better than Bremer Spanford and
Schoon.
And Schoon. He better than them already.
We gotta do a whole show on this McDonald's at home philosophy that we still are concerned about. We giving the front office credit, but we keep hearing people talk about this stuff with our players, and it's gonna take them 3 years, and they're this, and just give them time. It's like, dude, the Cowboys haven't been in an NFC Championship game in 30 years. We don't have time to this draft and develop thing. You can do that, but you got to have players that have good traits.
Yeah, and you
got to start from some. You got to start from somewhere.
They don't have no players that they developed into something. And then you know what I don't like, but I'm watching too. It's just like all of the players that they want to develop into something. Golly, that was a hard hit. All the players that they want to develop into something always get hurt.
So this is Rivaldo Fairweather?
Yeah. John Stevens got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Sam Williams got hurt.
But John Stevens had the traits.
Like Sam Williams. Sam Williams had the traits and he get hurt.
Yeah, well, Sam Williams, and there's some talk about him too. He don't have a sponsor now.
He's a big play guy because he come on the field, he make plays.
Yeah, he's the type of, this is what you need to take this offense. You need a tight end 1B. And I'm sorry, Schoonmaker is not it. Schoonmaker, let him go develop in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do something. You know
we don't need that here. When you take a player, we should be in this mindset. We can't keep drafting players, and as soon as we draft them, we get into this McDonald's at home development mindset where let's stop. When we draft players, we know when they can play. When we drafted Tank, we knew he could play. There wasn't no development. Did he develop? Of course he did. But we knew he could play on day one.
And he got hurt his first year, missed the whole season.
Yeah, so when you
came back and balled out.
When we got Diggs, he needed development, but in his rookie year, you knew he was a player.
He was a baller. You know he was a steal of the draft.
And I can go back in the 90s, folks. They keep talking about the defensive line these 3 years. All throughout the 90s, when the Cowboys drafted defensive linemen in the top of the draft, we knew they could play. Jimmy Jones, Russell Maryland.
This guy that we just drafted in the second round, we know he can play.
The edge, yeah. It ain't gonna take him 3 years to impress us. We
gonna have an impact on day one.
Yeah, so and that's the thing that we need to keep just look at for. So I hope that with the tight end room, they need to look at the tight end room and just say, this room is not where it needs to be. We got Ferg. They're not even sure if they want to offer him a contract. I think they should.
I don't know what the hell they thinking
It's a
on
lot
that.
of people that's down on Ferg because Dak was out last year. Then Ferg, he had a concussion, he was hurt, so I think he'll bounce back. But he's not enough. You need a tight end 1B. You need what we're looking at right here with this player.
Is he not a top 5 tight end?
I think he is, but
Me
you
too. I
got
mean,
your detractors that
wasn't we kind of like fighting for him to be all pro or make the Pro Bowl a couple years ago?
yeah, he should have made the Pro Bowl in 24. I think.
What are they
So
saying?
last year he got banged up, and then Dak went out, and he didn't have the chemistry with Cooper Rush.
Is he the best? Is he the best tight end in the NFC East? I think he is.
So you got Dallas Goddard.
He's better than Dallas Goddard.
What's
Zach Ertz?
the Giants ain't got nobody. Zach Ertz is on the backside. So I would say Ferg is the best. And the Eagles are trying to move on from Dallas Goddard.
That's a good person to bring in here.
Yeah, that would be a good pickup. I want to go younger. I think one of these guys we got, I think John Stevens or Fairweather that we just looked at, that's the way to go. Shout out to Vach. And Boss talked about this last night on his show. And I've been talking about this for a long time. The Cowboys, when they build a team, they always look at one position and they just say we don't really need to work on that position.
Running back.
They started it years ago with the wide receiver by committee. They just said we don't really need a.
No, they started it years ago with the safety.
With the safeties, they had Jeff Heath and that crew under Marinelli. They went to receiver. Then they went to linebacker. We never tried to sign Bobby Wagner. We're okay with LVE with the bionic neck. We're okay with Clark, who don't really want to. He ain't about that life as far
We're
as
okay with
tackling
Jalen
anybody.
Smith with a robot knee.
Yeah, and then they circle back to running back last year. They just said
we're okay with Zeke.
We're okay with Zeke. We got what's that running back name? I'm having my
Rico,
and then they didn't even want to play Rico.
It's just like, what is going on?
So what they need to do, they came
out here with Turpin playing running back.
So big move by the front office, but let's go all the way. Let's get our defensive tackle. Let's do our tight end 1B.
I can see Shotty going into the office and saying, "Hey guys, look, the tight end room, it's not gonna work out."
Yeah, it's not. We got this development thing there with Schoon, Brevin Spanford. People talking about Brevin Spanford. I would say this: Brevin Spanford was a free agent. To me, it ain't a dime bit of difference between him and Schoon. It's just not.
It ain't no difference.
Schoon had that one game when Ferg was out. Schoon made some catches.
Yeah, I guess
he showed a little something. But come on, man.
Shotty walking. Shotty already been told Tyler Guyton he got 4 weeks.
Well,
he already told him that
because he's a left tackle. That's the most important position. You're gonna face the hardest pass rushers.
And I keep saying I want everybody to pay attention to Dak and Shotty's relationship. Dak is Shotty's guy.
Yeah, Dak.
So you think
Shotty's guy?
So you think that Shotty is not going to tell Tyler Guyton, say my man, look, you can't be getting that killed like that, dog. You know what I'm saying? You won't see the field. You won't see the field. They will pull you and you will not play.
Yeah, I think he's got training camp. He's got 4 games. And look, I say give Awesome Richards a shot at the spot. Let him come in there and compete.
Say just draft. You need to just draft. You need to just pull an old move and just draft a free agent. I mean, just sign a free agent, an old guy, an old vet that can get it one more year. I don't know who that would be, but
well, they've done it before, so that's a move.
And Jason Peters type of guy.
Yeah, that's a move they got in their back pocket. So, man, we can go ahead and wrap. And appreciate people joining, and we'll come back on. Probably do a show Friday and Saturday. Get some more content out.
Yeah, this was a hell of a move by the Cowboys, and this is right here is what we're talking about. This made us a complete team. Uh, this is them ramping up.
Yeah.
We was wondering for a minute, where they giving up. Everything that they've done this offseason is complete opposite of last year. They have completely, totally changed everything from the draft to the hiring of the coaches to the free agent.
Free
Uh,
agents was good. The linebacker room is better.
I mean, they did their thing. They did their thing their way, but it got done.
And
They
they
did it
stepped
their
they
way.
stepped outside they went outside the box.
They definitely did.
So you
And
gotta give them credit for that.
I think what the good thing about it is that I think that they're gonna see that this is how you do things because this
Mhm.
is gonna pay off. It's gonna be games that George Pickens wins.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be games
I was
where
watching his game against the Commanders today. He single-handedly won the game for Pittsburgh. I remember just kind of watching that game. They couldn't cover him,
you
and they
cannot
had their
cover
best
him.
corner on him.
When we played them, he was the only person that was making plays.
Yeah.
He was the only person that was making plays. So he's one of them guys to where CD gonna have a few games where he ain't got to do much because
Hmm.
we gonna have you gonna have him doing a lot, and he wants to rebuild his career. He
Yep.
wants to get paid, and
He
so
gonna have he gonna be on his best behavior.
and he with some good dudes that he already cool with. He already cool with CD. You know, when him and CD when we played the Steelers, that's the person that he was walking to the locker room with. After the game, him and CD was walking together. So it's just
Wow.
like, you know what I'm saying? They already,
They already got the chemistry.
yeah, they was walking together after the game. They were talking like, how the
Yeah, and
players talk Thursdays.
Micah done already blew his phone up.
I mean, come on, man. Bro. I'm telling you that he a dog. He Micah type of guy.
Yeah, Terrence Parsons, he was like
Elated.
really
I've been
insane.
watching
Yeah,
Terrence all day.
so Micah, man, come on.
Man, this is
Micah,
perfect.
yeah.
This is perfect for Micah. Micah loved this addition.
And they need to put his lock over there with Micah
And
and
yeah,
Dak.
I mean, why not? They need to put him
Yeah.
over there in the mix because I mean, it's just like this is the guy right here that y'all need to be putting up under y'all wing. You know what
And
I'm
then
saying?
Jerry gonna pull him in the office, and have the Jerry talk
You know who his agent
about.
is?
Yeah,
His
I saw
agent not
that.
playing with him.
I saw that. So what you think the hold up is on the Micah deal?
Yeah, ain't no hold up. It's just them being them. They gonna sign, deadlines, make deals, and he'll be the highest paid, and they'll do it right before the season start. I mean, they done already did what they were gonna do as far as free agency and
And
all that.
I cap ain't never been better.
So what? So they ain't gotta hurry up and sign Micah. They should, but they don't have to. It's not like it's not like they not signing Micah, so they won't have to sign free agents because they already did that already. So it's
Hmm.
just like, what we gonna see now is we gonna see Micah get paid, then we gonna see Tyler Smith get paid, then we gonna see possibly Deron Bland get paid, and that's what's gonna be.
Man, I hope they do the right thing with Bland. I think Bland done earned his money now. You know, they can probably get a deal done with Bland where he's not, breaking the bank.
They
Something,
need to get Ferguson done.
yeah. So they got some guys that need to look at and get done. But yeah, the salary cap. They're saying if we get Michael signed, we got plenty of room to make another move.
We do. You can look at it right now, but that's what That's what I was looking at Shador. That's what Shador said to his brother. He was just like, "Hey, no, that's what Shiloh said." Shiloh was like, "Man, if they making him wait, I know I ain't getting drafted. If they making him wait like this, And then Shador bust out laughing. Remember that video, that clip?
And he
So
went and Shiloh went to Tampa.
yeah. So in the first round, Shiloh was like, "Man, if they ain't, I know I ain't getting drafted. If they didn't make it, they make it. If they making him wait." And Shador just bust out laughing. You didn't see that clip?
Mm-mm.
So I'll play that and then we can get on out. But that was
Yeah,
hilarious. I said Shiloh was like, "Hey man, if they
I
if
like
they
Shiloh.
me too, I
I wish
like
we
man.
had a drafted him.
I know Shiloh was like, say man, if they ain't letting him go, hey man, shoot, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man." So it was just like, Shador just bust out laughing. So it was like, here it go right here, live shirt. Let me see. So, and it was a genuine moment. Shador was really being funny. I mean, Shiloh was really being funny, but it was just funny. And then, he was just like, so I said, I feel the same way about Ferg and them. It's just like, if they making Michael wait, they making Ferg and them wait. They ain't gonna get, they ain't hurrying
Man,
up.
them contracts. Let me tell you something. We all know the salary cap.
So
Ferg, Bland, Tyler Smith, they can get every last one of them contracts done, and it's actually going to help the cap. So we
yeah,
ain't even going there.
right.
And them
So
guys ain't trying to break the bank. Deron Bland, Ferg, they ain't trying to break the bank.
nah, they
They
ain't
can
trying.
get it. They can get a good deal done. Get them signed. You know, you look at what the contract that Diggs signed. They can give Bland something a little less than that,
Mm-hmm.
and Bland will be good to go. Ferg, the same with Ferg. Now Tyler Smith, he's probably gonna need to be. There was some talk today, and the last thing we can talk about while you playing in video.
I don't know why my video isn't showing up. Let me see. But what were you saying? Go ahead, say what you were saying.
It was some discussion today from some of the content creators about Micah moving back and playing more outball linebacker, and I just think at this point in his career, Micah's not really gonna go for that. I think he'll play some off-ball linebacker, which he should, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But he's primarily just still gonna be rushing. That's it right there.
Yeah, watch what Shiloh say.
Now, is that Bucky, their other brother?
And Bucky holding the camera.
So who's the guy on the right?
That's Shador.
No, I mean on the left.
That's Shiloh.
Okay, so that's Shiloh.
Yeah, that's Shiloh and that's Shador. Bucky holds the camera.
Okay.
See, look. Watch this. What he say.
They doing him, making him wait? Oh, buddy. Me? Oh. Hey. You good, bro. You good, bro.
Watch how he said. Watch what he said.
Part of was I don't understand. Because you gotta understand. See, bro, I don't even know what they're gonna do with me, bro, because they're doing you like this.
Yeah. And Shiloh is taller than Shador. I didn't know that.
Buddy.
No, he not. He not taller than Shador.
You good, bro. You good, bro.
No, I just love they dynamic of their family. Their family is just they dynamic. It's just Bucky is the older brother and he is the video guy. So
Now,
every
Bucky
time
didn't play.
Bucky played, but he wasn't like good like that, you know. And Bucky is from Dion's first wife. They got different mamas. So Bucky is like Bucky looked just like Dion. You know what I'm saying? So he looked just like Dion, and I think he went to Trinity. When we went to Bishop Dunn, he had some nephews and his sons went to Trinity. Bucky was the one that went to Trinity. So I think.
So
And
Bucky
then
is like in your age group.
I think me and Bucky the same age. He might be a year older than me, I think. And then so I think, but yeah, Bucky is the camera guy.
Where did they actually live when they went to Trinity?
I want to say at Lake Ridge.
Oh, they was in Lake Ridge.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
know
a lot of the Cedar Hill, a lot of my Cedar Hill friends, they know their whole family because that's where they was at.
Mm-hmm.
His daughters and all of them. His daughter is my age for sure. You know what I'm saying? She is, all our Cedar Hill friends,
Now-
they know him.
Now my fraternity brother Sean Johnson, he the one that went to Adwell with Uncle Keith.
Mhm.
He knows Dion really well. He's been to Colorado and a couple other places where Dion has had like different events, so he knows him pretty good. He went to Colorado, matter of fact, a few months back.
Yeah. I see.
And Sean played for Texas Tech,
Mm.
and he has twins. He has twin boys, and one of them just got a job with Jasmine Crockett.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's crazy.
He finna graduate too, so they go to North Texas.
Yeah.
They was in the military academy, then they transferred from the military academy to the regular college, regular school.
But yeah, Bucky is the oldest, and then so he does all of the camera. So anytime you see, Dion on camera or Shador or Shiloh, Bucky is the one filming everything. He films everything. He's their camera guy. So he making money doing that because he got the exclusive stuff. And then you got Shador, who Shador is the Uno, and then Shiloh is just he's an athlete too. He's a good athlete. He might make the team in Tampa, but he's just you would think that the dynamic of their team is of their family. It's like Shiloh be like he don't really care if he go or not. He just want to support his brother. He just like man, I'm gonna play, but if I don't, I'm gonna be supporting my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not.
Yeah, just watching Shiloh. When I watch their games, To me, he was the kind of player that could be a role player, the kind of players that we had back in the 90s. He wouldn't be a starter, but he's a guy that can come in and and come
This
up
is
and make some
this is this,
tackles.
this is what Google says. It says Deion Sanders' sons, Deion Jr., which is Bucky, Shiloh, and Shador all play high school football at different locations. Bucky played at Marcus High School in Dallas and Atlanta Sports Academy in Georgia. Shiloh played at Trinity Christian High School in Cedar Hill. Shador also played at Trinity Christian High School in Cedar Hill, where his father was offensive coordinator.
What's Marcus High School in Dallas? I never heard of that.
Me neither. But I ain't never heard of Atlanta Sports Academy either.
Oh well, yeah, that's probably it's just one of those schools. That's the school that
Yeah,
Tyler Booker went to. He went to one of
right.
them academies, and then Michael Irvin. He went to it's called St. Thomas Aquinas, I think it's called. So
Yeah.
they had those schools like that where they just recruit athletes and
So Marcus High School is off of it's up there. It's in Flower Mound. It's off
oh
of
okay, I've heard it. It's called Flower Mound Markers. I've heard of it.
yeah. It's over there. It's off of 35 in Louisville, like before you get to Denton.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And I think that Dion and them lived up there somewhere too.
Yeah, they lived in Prosper, and I
Hmm.
think they moved to another city now. He just sold one of his houses,
Yeah, I seen that.
so it's gonna be interesting to see what Dion does this year. Without his boys being there, if he's gonna have the same kind of commitment and focus. He just got a new contract.
I mean,
So
Dion is one of them ones to where it's just like, anything he put his mind to it, he lock in and do it. But it's just not gonna be, you know, the same. He not gonna have that warm feeling, that I got my son, and this is like it's like he's not gonna be like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like more business. But I really wish that he didn't take that. He didn't take that. I really wanted him to just take a year off and then go go wherever Shador went.
well, they say one of the things is that a lot of teams were kind of shying away from Shador because a lot of the coaches was like they kind of felt like if they drafted him, Dion would be trying to come in and take the job. So that was kind of part of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it. I just hope that I get that, and I understand that. I just hope that it's an NFL team that say, we welcome that.
Yeah, he gonna be in the NFL one of these days. So
Yeah,
we can go ahead and wrap. So the Celtics down 0-2. They just playing with their food.
yeah.
The Knicks, they ain't better than them, but
No,
it is what it is.
like I said, the NBA, it's the WWE right now. They did all of this on purpose, man. They
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? They to me, some of this is getting a little bit too cartoonish. It's just like, okay, they finna go to game 7 now? Is that what y'all telling us right now? They finna go to so Celtics and the Knicks gonna go to game 7. Is that what y'all saying? Because I feel like
That's
that's
what's
supposed to be
gonna happen.
right. It's just like, all right, man, whatever. It's just like, okay, I'm not watching that. I might watch game 7. I want to see Jalen Brunson. You know,
And I missed game 7 of Golden State in Houston Sunday night. I couldn't find the game. I don't know what was happening.
I
And
watched
it
the
was
game.
I couldn't find it.
It was on So Player. All you have to do is go to the Houston NBA team.
I went to the Houston and Golden State channel and it wouldn't come up. So I don't know.
Was it on TNT
I don't know. I
or
don't know.
ABC? But I watched it. But anyways, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna watch until the finals. OKC is making me mad, and then I don't. You know, Luke
Then
and them got
Minnesota is down. Are they down 0-2 or is it 0-1?
I don't know. I don't even know who I'm going for. I was going for Houston, and then um,
I'll be going for OKC if they make it.
yeah, I guess so. Steph. I like Steph. I want to see Steph win so he can go ahead and get on up out the league. And I like Draymond. I would love to see them get another one, but I
Yeah,
don't know, man.
I think it'd be good for the NBA for one of them little one horse towns like Oklahoma City
Yeah.
getting one. They kind of like San Antonio. They just got that that one team and
Well, San
they support
Antonio
their
is
team.
legit. So yeah, they
Yeah.
legit. Yeah, they had David Roberts. They legit. They ain't like the Mavericks. They ain't like the OKC.
Oh,
OKC
they
ain't
don't.
never won one, right?
No, They
Right.
so the OKC they were actually the Seattle Supersonics.
Right.
That's where
With
they
Gary
came
Payton and
from.
all of them.
Yeah,
Right. So they ain't really, you know what I'm saying, just the Spurs is like, they got Pop, Pop just retired. So he had a stroke.
yeah. He had a stroke, and they hired the young coach, and so they got the good players. They got De'Aaron Fox. They got what's
Wemby.
yeah. So they gonna be they gonna be in the mix. And they got a whole bunch of picks and a whole bunch of money too. So they finna load up. That's gonna be the team.
Yeah, they say we gonna either try to do Giannis or we gonna try to do, Kevin Durant or Giannis. That's what they saying.
Nah, you can keep Kevin Durant. It's Giannis. That would kind of turn our thing around. I don't know. I don't see how you're gonna do it, but that would be a miracle shot. That's what it's gonna take.
Yeah, man, because it's
So
like it's bad news right now.
yeah.
So
So
we'll see
we
y'all
go
on the
ahead and
next one.
wrap. Yeah.
Everybody appreciate y'all for checking in with us, and good day in Cowboys Nation. The season just got interesting. It's finna go down now. We finally did what we needed to do, and we competing now. So now it's all about talent and scheme. Now it's finna get real.
So left tackle, defensive tackle, and then 1B tight end.
That's it. So y'all, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure y'all hit the notification bell so y'all can see when we going live and see when we gonna be posting. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.